I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Augustin Del Vento. I'm the CEO here at Change Champions Consulting. It's a real pleasure to have everyone joining us. And we have a topic here that is very close to our hearts. We've been working in security awareness for quite a while. And we also do a lot of Microsoft training and adoption. And so we put the two together, and we're going to share with you how you can use Attack Simulator, which is a tool that you may already have included in your Microsoft stack, as well as Copilot, to extract more interesting insights from your data and manage risk in your organization. So we look forward to sharing some of the insights with you today. The session is going to be about 30 minutes length, and if you have any questions, by all means, just unmute yourself and ask. Just a little bit about us. We help organizations manage change, essentially, and we have been very deep in the Microsoft space, as well as the Microsoft Copilot space. And as I said, we also work in security awareness with a lot of IT security teams, so we've seen a lot of the things that work, that don't work, and whatnot. And we don't sell licenses as a Microsoft partner. We are more on the side of helping businesses that have already purchased licensing make the most of their licenses. So we really are focused on driving the adoption and value realization. We're a Microsoft partner in the modern work space. We are ProSite certified, and as I mentioned, we're 100% dedicated to adoption. In our conversations with clients, we see all kinds of things. Clients currently are either envisioning the art of the possible in their use of AI, and sometimes in the security space as well. Things are changing so quickly. Other clients are already there and they're fast tracking adoption and they're needing help with that. Or we have clients that have already been done, or they already been doing some things in terms of adoption, and now they're looking to optimize and maybe catch up with Microsoft on all those changes they're making. So they're more in that optimization phase. We can help in any one of those areas, folks, if you ever need help. And what we're going to show you today is really a little bit of what we do with business users, helping them see the value of AI, as well as in this case, Microsoft Attack Simulation training. So what we're going to be covering today is, first of all, our perspective on what's wrong with security awareness today and what people are, most organizations that we see out there are doing, and maybe give you some ideas of what you could do differently. We also want to take a little journey inside of Microsoft Attack Simulation training, the tool that Microsoft has to do phishing and training simulations. Ivy's going to be doing a brief demo. We also have a webinar where we went into quite a bit of detail. So if you're interested, we can share that with you. But today is going to be a bit more of a sneak preview, if you will. And then number 3, we're going to look at how AI can help you make the most of the data that Attack Simulator has given you once you've done your phishing and training simulations. We're going to wrap up at the end of this 30 minutes with some recommendations as well. All right, so starting off with what's wrong with the world today, I guess, with the world of security awareness, what we see out there, maybe this is your experience as well, is that security awareness tends to be quite generic in its approach. So we treat every employee as the same, essentially, whether people have clicked or whether people have MFA enabled or not, or whether people are high targeted, executives. Everyone gets the same treatment in the sense of submitting or sending phishing simulations and maybe putting them through training. And oftentimes it's too generic, right? The other thing we see is that the data that you collect through all these exercises and simulations oftentimes just sits unused, and we don't make a lot of decisions based on what's been given to us on our tools that we're using, whether it's Attack Simulation or maybe Proofpoint or KnowBe4, who knows what you're using. But the reality is that many times not much happens after the simulations have been done. And then 3, related to the other thing is that the loop is never closed. So what we see is that even though the simulations are happening, maybe employees don't even know what was the effect of these and what happened after the simulation and how we're doing as a company, right? So we think there's a better way. What we're proposing on this right hand side is the idea that security awareness could be more of a human risk management approach, whereby we use the information we have to identify and really measure the risk. And we'll show you some ideas of how we could do that with AI. And then we could also use that data to target people more specifically based on their risk level. And two, we can use AI to help us reinforce, so close that loop that sometimes is not closed, okay? So we're gonna walk you through some use cases of how you can use AI to solve for these problems. Now, I'll now pass it on to Ivy. She's going to take us on a quick journey of attack simulation training and give you an idea of what the benefits of this tool, and then we're going to come back and look at some AI use cases. Over to you, Jen.
Thank you, Agustin. Yeah, so you should be seeing attack simulation training on my screen right now. And this is a tool, we call it a free tool because if you already have Microsoft E5 or E7 license, then it is part of that license. And all you need to do is get your administrator to activate your attack simulation eligible. You need to activate that administrator access so that you can see what I am showing you right now. What is attack simulation training anyway? It's a Microsoft security solution that educates users to identify and resist phishing attacks through realistic simulations and training. So there's sample phishes already that are here. There's training that's already built in, and we're gonna go through creating a few of those things. Now, what you see on the overview here is just the recent simulations that that the organization has conducted. You'll see who has been sent a phishing simulation and who have not, some recommendations, a button that you can view who's a repeat offender, and then you might see what you can do with Alex Wilbur here, who is constantly doing behaviors that are not desired in as far as keeping the company information secure. And you can also see how many people have completed the training. So what we're going to do is typically what we do for our clients is at least once a month we run a simulation and we create something like this. But what I want to do right now is touch into automations, because we can run one simulation at a time, launch it, and then wait for it to finish, and then view the reports. But another thing we can do is have attack simulation training, create the phishing emails, and send it out automatically. So I'll take a couple of minutes to view that here. So we'll do 2026 August through or July through December. And what we want to do is choose one type of social engineering technique. We typically use credential harvest because if people type in their username and their password, that's really the most dangerous behavior to provide information that to bad actors that you really don't want to have anything to do with your information. And so you can have Microsoft randomize. There are several languages. And so for this demo, I would probably just choose a few English ones and you can see what those types of emails are if you click on the highlighted title. So I think I like that. And then we'll just choose a few more here. Account disconnection, view the completed documents. Maybe we'll do quarantining and a few more here. So I've chosen 10. that are English, you'll see there's predicted compromise rate that Microsoft attack simulation training says you may need to how difficult the payload is, and how many people might fall for it. And so after we choose the payload, we want to assign to our users. And so you can choose groups, individual users, or all your employees. And the reason I'm choosing this is because if I choose all our users, it includes all the conference rooms that our Entra AD has email addresses for. And so I don't want to do that, although there is a way to exclude some email addresses. It's just simpler to just choose the group of all employees. In this case, it's our Contaso marketing group. And then what would you do? If someone clicks on the link, then you can assign them training. So you can select the training courses yourself and decide how long you're going to give the people who clicked or submitted credentials to complete. So maybe we'll just give them 7 days, and then we'll choose a few of the training courses. So what we want to do is add the training. And you can preview all these things. So for example, the phishing website, which is somewhat of a problem, if people get in, then you want to educate them. So this is the type of training that they can be asked to complete if they click on the link. So I won't drain this one, but you'll see that it's up-to-date information, and there's going to be a few knowledge check questions at the end. Okay. And for this one, there's no knowledge check, but the other, you can put a few of the other ones as well. And we'll add those. And you can choose who you want to receive. So if someone clicked on the payload or compromised, and they can receive any of these. That's usually how we set it up. But of course, you can also use attack simulation training just to send training to all users without having, without having to qualify, oh, if you only clicked, then you get this type of training. Okay, just a few more steps. We want to add a payload indicator. So what a payload indicator is, just the answer key. So if someone clicks on the link, then the payload indicator will show, oh, this is a phish because you want to see, you'll see it here. You'll see what the problem is, and I'll show that to you in a bit. So here in this section, you'll see what the email is. For now, this is the email. A landing page template will be the email that the offender receives. You were just phished, and it provides the training. As I mentioned, most of this is customizable. So for this one, why don't we upload the Contaso image file? So there's a logo. And so now if you look at it, if you preview it, then it now has the company's actual logo here. Okay. So let's proceed. And it is the default language is English. If you need to use a different language, then just change it there. We want to deliver some end user notifications. So communicating with our users is very important. We want to let them know that they did something correctly, which is thank you for reporting a phish. That's the behavior we want to do. And then, so we're going to have it deliver during the simulation. You can choose to have the email delivered afterwards, but for us, we'd prefer to do that while, like, right away when it's fresh in people's minds. And this is the other type of email notification. So if someone perhaps has not completed their training, then they will receive a reminder email, and you can just set that automatically. All right, we're almost there. So I want to simulate a schedule. I think I'll just do it randomly. And so we want to see how many emails each one receives. So we're going to start it right now, and we're not going to do on weekends, just weekdays. How many simulations we want? Let's do 10. And the end date will be December. So we listed it for the rest of the month, right? So for the rest of the year. And so that's the case. Randomize the send times. You can do that as well. And I'm going to check these. Target all users, target repeat offenders. Well, I won't target repeat offenders. I just want to do everything. And then set it according to their time zone. So if we put it at a certain time, then it will just send at a local time. All right. So we'll run that and then it should go on. I'll show you just quickly here. One of the users that would have received the email. So Alex is, so I ran a few of the emails, and this is one of the phishing emails that got sent. So you'll see it talks about the email of the person. It addresses the email of the person. Hello, Alex, and your password expires today. And if I click it, okay, I need to log in. So let's do alexw@contasso.com. And then enter a password. And this is the landing page. So you see there's the logo. It tells you that it informs the user, oh, you did something that you weren't supposed to do. And these are the payload indicators. It says the spoof display name hides the sender and reply to email addresses. So that's one of the indicators. If you can see, it comes from an @template.com email address, which has nothing to do with Office 365. There's also, yeah, so that's kind of what the payload indicator is. And then you can go to the training or you can add it to your calendar if you don't have time to complete it right at that point. Okay. And so that's just the example of what the user receives. And then how would they receive the other notification? So if we report this, I'll report phishing through Outlook, then it goes away. And then and then I will have a notification there that came in. Thank you for reporting the fish that had this Office 365 email. And that's the positive reinforcement email that we had. So that's one of the experiences for the admin side and the user side. And as of now, what I would like to do is show you just some reporting. So let's say I'll look at one of the emails here that we've completed. So let's look at the drive-by phishing email that we'd started early this week. It was sent to 19 people and one person clicked and one person reported. And what we do here is we track the information and we export each of the user data. And so once you open that, then you can use AI to manipulate the information to provide useful insights. And at this point, I'm going to send to, I'll show you the file. There we go. So you'll see all the users and what they have done with the phishing. Yep.
Yeah, and I stole your screen share, Ivy.
Okay, great.
Great segue. Thank you. I wanted to also say in terms of, because I think a lot of people have other tools that are doing some of these things, but one of the benefits of using attack simulator, and again, we really don't sell licenses, so we're just speaking from experience, is you don't really have to do anything in the way of whitelisting domains or creating groups. Everything is synchronized with your environment. So we're always appalled by learning that a lot of teams have what they need in their tenant. They have the tools, but they're not using it. So the purpose of this demo is to encourage you to maybe consider it. And while maybe the training is not the most advanced training that we've seen in comparison to other tools, it still does a really good job. All right. The other thing is reporting. What we see is, and by the way, this data is fake data. We're not sharing any real information, though. This is very similar to some of our clients. You see the names of people, you see their email addresses, you see whether they were compromised, whether they clicked, how they reacted to a previous simulation that you've done. You'll see how they whether they completed training or not, whether they reported the phish. You will get access to departmental information. You also, if you have contractors, for example, their company, you may get information on their title and office as well as manager. So now we have all this great information. The question is, how can we use this and maybe AI to make the most of it? And so my goal today is to show you some examples of that. And I'll just walk you through some of them in my Copilot instance here. So let me just open this up and I'll show you what I mean. The first thing, and we can share these prompts with everyone after this call. We'll share a presentation that contains the prompts as well. But the first one is really, I have all the data exported. You can see it attached to Copilot here. And by the way, you can do this with the free or the paid Copilot. I have attached the data set, and I've asked Copilot to analyze the last 3 months of phishing simulation data set and show me the key metrics by month in a table. So that basically I can start making some judgments on what's happening here in my organization. So you can see Copilot has gone through and done the analysis for me. And at a glance, I get a good table with, this is, by the way, quarterly information. You can see how many people have been testing, how many people have clicked, the click rate, the compromise rate, and report rate. The other thing I get is a nice trending chart, which I can use to put in a presentation, for example, and some very useful overall insights from the data. For example, I can see here that overall my risk is low, but I'm not improving over time. In fact, we had a click rate of 3.7 in May. We went down in June, and then we went back up in July. Something maybe to do with the template that we use. It looks like in June was a little bit easier, or maybe people didn't open it as much. We'll see, right? But the point being is AI is already helping us determine here where the gaps may be and what we may need to do about it, right? So if you're a security team member and you're wanting to look for quick insights, AI can help you with that. Again, we'll share these prompts as we go, but after the session, but I want to show you as we go here. The other example that I want to give you here is another typical thing that we see is that everyone gets treated with the same approach, and the reality is that typically there's some groups that are more at risk than others, and we just need to identify who those are, right? So here the prompt is, where does the risk concentrate, right? Compare the click rates and report rates by department. So I'm using that department value from my data set to determine where the risk is, and asking Copilot to tell me where the risk is in the departments, and then also what are the most at risk as well as what are the most vigilant users. And we'll see what Copilot has given us here. You can see it's already giving me a little bit of a glance. So for example, in my next phishing simulation, I can target the management team. This is, by the way, in Spanish because it's real, quote unquote, data from a client in mining that we use. So again, Copilot is giving you the at a glance and allowing you to identify risks so that you can take appropriate action, right? We can see, for example, our management team. There's also the maintenance team. It looks like here the operations team. So there's a few teams that are being at risk. And the other thing I can see is the most compromised users. So again, I may put these in a next phishing simulation and target them. Right, so that I'm targeting the 20% that is getting the most risk for my organization. Another example of how you could use the same data set, again, we run this with different prompts, is where does well, this one is the same. Sorry, I want to look at this one here. I want to look at training assignments. are people completing the training that I've given them? And if they're not, if they're falling through the cracks, what may be happening in my data that they're not, right? So again, I attached the file to the chat, I provided the prompt, and Copilot quickly gives me a little bit of a sense of what's happening here. So there's a pattern of people not completing training. It looks like, for example, the summer students, the geotechnical engineers, it looks like based on the records, you can see here the issues with operations and more technical engineering roles, as well as field-based departments. Not a surprise, right? These folks usually are not spending a lot of time in computers. So if we're giving them training and they may not have been given the time to spend to do the training in the computer, or maybe they're just not sitting in the computer every day, they're just on a device. Maybe they were phished on a device, but they need to complete the training on their computers. It's tough, right? So the idea here is Copilot is already giving me a diagnosis and is telling me training is maybe being treated as a follow-up action and they don't see it as a priority. Maybe they have very little time to complete the training. Maybe the managers haven't bought in, right? So again, the prompt is helping me get insights and be able to then take action accordingly. Now, I'm going to move into Cowork now. Microsoft Cowork, for those of you who may be new to it, is a tool that allows you not just to get insights from the data, but also take action based on the data, right? So here's an example. I've asked Cowork using the same file, the big spreadsheet with my 1,400 users clicking and all that, to digest that in one simple dashboard that I can present to leadership. And in this case, I've created the dashboard using what's called a skill, okay? And a skill is essentially asking Cowork to use a set of instructions that I've given it so that this dashboard always looks the same. It's basically custom instructions for the AI. So you can see here, use the human risk dashboard skill that I've created to create a dashboard from the data. And you can see the skill right here. I'm just going to open it so you can see this skill again, custom instructions, right? And it has a specific set of things that I want Cowork to do. So when you invoke the skill, Cowork is going to then proceed and create that, that dashboard the way you want it. Now, Cowork has done all the work. I run this before. I'm going to show you the output of this. I think it's pretty phenomenal. And what I have done is I've asked Cowork to basically create a dashboard that has a little risk score with a specific rationale that it basically weights people on the basis of whether they clicked or they reported or they disclosed credentials and whatnot. And I have asked Cowork to essentially create this in a very visual way so that I can present this to leadership. Now, next time you need to run this, all you need to do is update your phishing data from your source and then run Cowork again using the same skill, and this whole thing will be updated. You don't have to move a finger. This is already done for you in seconds, right? So again, another way you can use AI to make sense of your data is creating a dashboard for executive leaders that is oftentimes quite useful, because then you can see where the risk is, you can see the trending, the departments at risk, the departments that are most engaged and vigilant, as well as the people who may be needing to be targeted. The last example I want to show you, same thing with Cowork. If you look down on my prompts here, what I have done is I've asked Cowork also to create an email draft. In this email draft, we'll have, it's basically two drafts, one of a support or supportive coaching email to managers, asking them to follow up with repeated clickers, okay? Remember, in my data, I had information on managers, so I can use that information to draft the email. The other thing I want to do is I want to write an executive level message giving employees an update on how we're doing with these things, right? Again, oftentimes phishing simulations are not, we don't close the loop. So this is intending to close the loop. I want to show you what Cowork has done. Basically, it's created the emails for me, and this is what actually looks like. So this email that you see in my drafts was created by Cowork. Once again, I did not have to do any of this. I just basically gave it the coordinates. Cowork did all the work of putting the information together and now drafted the email for me. This email is the one that goes out to all employees. And the nudge for the one employee who fell for the fish over time, several times. Here's the example. Walter is the manager of this employee. I have this email ready along with that direct report and the behavior that person took over time. So once again, this helps you close the loop. It helps you automate the effort of basically having to follow up with employees, and you can use Cowork to do this on a regular basis. I hope this makes sense. So just to close things off and coming back to the presentation, I just want to just share some basic tips and open it up. I don't know if you have any questions, but the thought, folks, here is number one, we recommend using the tools you own. It's all integrated in your tenant. There's no need to whitelisting, creation of groups. They're all there, right? Number two, AI can really be helpful doing the analysis for you and targeting the users that are at most risk is sometimes better than trying to do a broad stroke of security awareness. And the other thing is consider equipping your leaders with the information so they can follow through and reinforce through management cascade, right? So if you ask managers to follow up with employees, it's probably more effective than not. With that, if you have any needs or questions, or are interested in the skill that we've developed, we're actually going to send you a follow-up email with that skill in case you want to download it and use it. Skills can be reused, so you can upload it to your Cowork instance. But any questions at all? Excellent. With that, thank you so much for attending. Ivy, thank you so much. You've done a great job, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.